Now I'd like to invite Zachary Saloff down to the stage. This is a young man who I have an enormous amount of respect for.
Well, I am not at the top of my humanities class, so bear with me here. I remember the first time I walked into New Roads, Malibu. Thank you. After looking at the Santa Monica campus, we decided to also take a look at the Malibu campus. We walked into the front gate and there was Evan, walking out in his flip-flops, sport short, and t-shirt. My dad, all dressed up in a suit, gives my mom this look like, "You've done it again, Nancy." But of course, after 2 hours of talking to Evan, my dad was ready to quit his job and come to the school himself. Middle school is such an amazingly awkward time in anyone's life. The first day of 6th grade seemed like yesterday. I walked down those steps into that hallway. The first person I saw was Chris. Chris stood there. We both stood there awkwardly for a little bit until he finally said, do you know where we're supposed to go? Those were the first words that anyone ever said to me at New Roads. Pretty meaningful, right? We all sat down for a little introduction to learn about the teachers' names. Evan went down the line, each teacher telling their name and what they were teaching. At this point, the only person I knew was David Taylor, who wasn't anywhere to be seen. I was there, alone, surrounded by new people and new opportunities. Our 6th grade class was very memorable. We were a very interesting bunch, each of us with our own styles and ways of getting things done. But if I had to choose a class that brought out everyone's personality the most every year, it would be Connections. In 6th grade, I got to hear both sides of a different political argument every week from Connor and David. I also got to hear all of Chris's weird jokes. But throughout the years, Connections really became a great thing. It became an environment to talk about your parents that are splitting up or your dog who died. It was time to get to know one another without judging each other. That was one thing I'll never forget about New Roads. Math was always very interesting as well. Whether it was Shep relating a leaf to math or Daniel trying to explain to me that you actually have to figure out what X is, it was an experience. One of the best things about math at New Roads was that when I didn't get it, my teachers would give up their lunch, do whatever it takes to get me to learn it. Well, most of the time, anyway. And then there was humanities. All 3 years at New Roads, and I can't complain about my teachers in humanities. In 6th grade, I had Amy. Amy was so understanding. That's what I loved about her. She understood what that time that every 6th grader goes through, that you actually don't know that the due date means to actually do on that day. The next year, I had Amanda. She was good because she challenged me and really made me push myself, and I owe most of my improvement in organization to her. Last but not least, I had Kellen. I have to say, it was slightly disturbing how she got all of my Family Guy references. However, she has been a great teacher all year. In the beginning of the year, I realized that reading isn't like rubbing your face against a cheese grater. It's like rubbing your face against 2 cheese graters. But as the year went on, I learned to enjoy it and really appreciate the value that it gives. Thank you, Kellen. And then there's science class. Talk about making learning fun. I don't think I've ever laughed more in a class while actually learning a lot. But one thing I'm sure and I will remember, and many others will remember about science class with Daniel, were all of his funny PowerPoints. And then, of course, PE. I think most of us would agree that Shelton has helped us all so much in so many ways. He helped me improve my athletic ability and motivation over the past 3 years dramatically. He transformed me from that little chubby kid in 6th grade to a much better athlete. Shelton always brought a smile to New Roads, Malibu. After every break, you could hear that voice echoing throughout our campus. Come on, people, let's do it! I also think he's given me more nicknames than anyone ever before. There's been Salad, Bozo Brain, Salad Brain, Salad Soup, Salad Sauce, Ducky, Little Tom Hanks, and now my mom always runs around calling me Salad. Thank you for that. You can't forget about the man down under himself, Mr. Simon Sweeney. At first, I couldn't understand what he was saying to me. He'd always be like, Zachary, could you pass me that ruler? Excuse me, what? Zachary, pass me the ruler, I'm not fooling around. got over his amazing accent. Simon and I got along like a cat and mouse. We were this. We'd always exchange fashion tips, or maybe that was just me, but... Last but not least, we have Evan. Evan is the heart and soul of New Roads Malibu. He's just an all-around great guy. He's the go-to guy if you're dying to tell a joke that you just heard or you just need advice. Evan is a guy who understands you for who you are. I think we can all say that without Evan's understanding and, excuse me, hold on one second. So many things that he's just, understanding and hard work, yes, that the Malibu campus wouldn't be this great learning environment that we've all come to love. I'm going to miss him and all the other teachers and kids so much. So I was talking to Evan about what's a good way to end this speech. And so he asked me, well, what was your moment, your New Roads moment? So after I pondered that for a while, one thing came to my mind. It was recently, on the 8th grade trip. We were given the option to take a hike to a swimming hole with a big rock that you could jump off. We were all so tired from the long day of activities. It was a little less than a mile hike, and we were walking down a dirt trail, some of us with bare feet from the river crossings. But finally, we made it to the swimming hole. Everyone swam across to the other side, to the area where people sat and watched as others jumped off the large boulder. I sat down and observed as more people started jumping off and went swimming. It was at that moment I looked around and realized something. Everyone was jumping around and laughing. I couldn't tell the difference between the teachers and the kids. There was no popular group. No one was better than anyone else. We knew each other for who we were. We took off that mask that kids can sometimes put on. And at that moment I realized how the school year is coming to an end and I wouldn't be driving up that hill anymore. And how special these 3 years have been for me and how much I'm going to miss New Roads Malibu. Thank you.
I'm going to really miss you all an enormous amount. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. It's my honor now to introduce David Bryan, our head of school, founder of New Roads School, along with Paul. Oh, we're switching. We're going to do Rockestra instead. Less talking, more music. Here we go. New Roads Malibu All-Star Rockestra. Here we go. Miles Tipton, Jay Refuerzo.